Welcome to Deep Thought. The key to changing society is changing our thinking. I'm going to tell you what, because there's always so many things that, let's just be real, there's a lot happening. And really, there's a lot more happening that is not being talked about. There's a lot happening. You know what? I'm just going to say this because you know how I go on a tangent on this channel. The rabbit hole goes deep as shit. Calling this whole society a matrix is very accurate. So, but you know, that's part of the reason I do this channel, to get you to think. Because the key to changing all of this is to think. You can solve any problem by thinking. I don't care what the problem is, you can think. Even a natural disaster, you know what, something happens to you, a natural disaster, can't blame it on a person. You can still think about how to deal with it. I don't care what it is. And if we're talking about society, it's not going to change. See, one of the things is many people, they see all the problems, but they don't want to think about the real solution, which means things would have to change. You know, things would have to change. Attitudes would have to change, belief systems, power dynamics would have to change. Because I'll put it like this, because I don't want to go too deep right here. I don't want to go too deep, you know. I need to keep some alphabet agencies guessing. But there's a few things, there's some things happening now that's right in front of everybody's face. But because of the veil, they're not really seeing it. But then if you start thinking about it, you see the issue. And there's one, I'll just say this, there's a very, very, very strong issue that's underlying a lot of stuff happening. And the thing is, the people trying to deal with this issue, who are actively trying to deal with it, they really won't. But the issue is actually very extremely solvable. But they would have to change their thinking in order to do it. Because what they're doing is not going to change anything. I could just say that. Now, I know y'all probably like, Ron, what is it? What is it? I'll just say, keep opening your third eye. You'll see it, and then maybe even more than I see, and you can get back to me. But the thing is, this could be any problem, not even just a global thing, but just in the neighborhood, you know? You could, it's right there. It's like, oh, we're having this problem. Just do this, you know? Or just have this attitude. But then somebody, you know, you got people, especially those in power, say, well, if we do that, yeah, to solve it, but we won't have power anymore. We want to keep the status quo. So often people can maybe even think about a solution, but they can't implement it. So they're like, okay, we got to find a solution that we find acceptable. Okay, well, it might not be one. It might not be one. You know, you might have to give up some power. You know? So that's the thing. But if you're going to change anything, well, you know what? Let me go on not a macro scale, but a micro scale. If you're going through problems in your life, I don't care what it is, you got to change your thinking. Because first of all, whatever your thinking was probably got you in that problem to begin with. You know? Like some people will say, well, I need more money. I'm having trouble keeping money and, you know, about to get kicked out and everything. Get a job. Think about it. Now somebody say, oh, no, that sounds too obvious. No. If you're having trouble with solving a problem, like the whole thing, okay, you're about to get kicked out of your place, you need money. The common sense thing to do is to get money or figure out how you're going to get money. And then maybe you might have to move. That's part of thinking, or get a job. But then sometimes people get caught up because they only want to work in certain places. But you got to expand your mind. You got to expand your mind. You might have to get something that has nothing to do with whatever you were trained to do in life. And there's no shame in that. Shoot, how do you think I got in retail? I'm actually glad it happened though, because it actually opened up some other things for me. To the point I'm like, please, I'll be good for life. Trust me, I don't care what happens, trust me. You know, Like a lot of people talking about recession, recession, recession. I'm like, I already know how money is going to still come in here. I already know how. All I had to do is push the button. But that's because I was thinking, and I'm not letting anything hold me back. But see, if we, that's just a micro scale. People have to really think and look at all the solutions and be open to some solutions. And sometimes, you know what? They might have to change something. They might have to give up something. That's part of thinking too. But it's still thinking, because a lot of things are happening and people, well, one of the main things is people trying to solve it with stuff that got them there. Like I mentioned earlier. I was like, that's a problem anyway, That's a problem anyway. That's how you got there. So common sense, which isn't too common, says don't do that again. That got you in there. You got to do something different. But you still got to think about it. Now, we got a lot of stuff happening. I mean, overall, we got homeless. We got homeless people. We got crime. We got tons of dysfunction. And actually, it's easily solvable. It's easily solvable. People don't think it is, and it's going to take some work. It ain't going to be a snap, but there's simple solutions to everything. If you think about it. If you think about it. So, that's the thing. But you got to think. See, one of the issues with thinking is many people are just following along. They just follow in the path of the herd. They'll let somebody else tell them what to wear. They'll look for somebody else to solve the problem. They'll look outside themselves. They'll wait for some magic beam to come from somewhere. Look for that hero. That hero's going to solve the problem. And they never do, especially if they're a politician. They don't solve any problems, trust me. Instead of looking at themselves and say, okay, what can I do? What changes can I make? But to even get to that point, we got to encourage thinking. That's why I say, look, I don't care if you disagree with me, just explain it. Or it be at least whatever your position is, just give me, some intellectual thing, where you're thinking about it. But I don't tolerate attacking. If you disagree, fine. But when you attack, that's what I don't put up with, because you don't have to. I want people to think. And I've seen plenty of comments where people were thinking, even disagreeing. But I was like, oh, okay, at least they thought about it. Okay, I can deal with that. Sometimes, and even when I challenge it, they'll come back and say, nah, this is why I'm looking at it this way, this, and this. I was like, okay. Because I ain't perfect myself. That's why I want people to think about shit. And a lot of times I just throw out stuff. I'll throw out a lot of stuff here. But I will be staying strong on this part. If we have problems in society with all these problems, people have to stop and really think about it. And like I said, one of the biggest issues is changing something, really changing something. Because like I said, the answers, when you think about it, are kind of obvious to everything, really. But some people want to keep the status quo. Think on this. So, but whatever the case, it's still about thinking. Because then the problem is how to deal with the people keeping the status quo. So anyway, that's all I have for now. I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.